We just finished celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and in Oklahoma that's a typical time for planting Irish potatoes. Well, this weekend, if the soil's in good condition, you can get out and plant some in your own garden. And if you're going to plant potatoes, we always recommend that you take your seed potato piece and cut it up so it will go further. Make sure though that you have a couple of eyes on each seed piece. And also, after you cut it open, it's a good idea to do this a day or two before planting. See that shiny surface? That's very prone to rotting if you put that into a very wet soil. And so it's a good idea to let them sit out in a tub in some airy place and let this surface dry over or suberize for a day or two so that it won't be quite so subject to rot when you do plant them in the soil. You can also sow some other root crops right now. Carrot seed can go in the ground, as well as beets and turnips. And then in the cold crops department, if you have transplants ready to go, you can get those in the soil. Now, we've been raising these in the greenhouse. They've been hardened off a little bit. And before we plant them, we want to make sure that we give them some protection against cutworms. I've just made some paper collars up real quickly out of grocery sacks and just wrap those around the stem. And by the way, with transplants, make sure once you pop them out of their plastic cell pack that you get those roots planted as quickly as possible. You don't want them exposed to the open air for very long because those surface roots will get killed back. Make sure that that paper collar extends for about an inch above the soil line so the cutworm can't wrap itself around the plant and cut it off. This broccoli variety I'm planting is Green Comet. There are several good varieties of broccoli that OSU has been doing variety trials on recently. We found several that do well in Oklahoma, and those are listed on your vegetable varieties for Oklahoma fact sheet. Got one more to put in. Give it a little bit of transplant solution. But before I do that, I just want to mention briefly these onions that we've raised. The variety is 1015Y, which is a super sweet onion for growing bulbs in the garden. If you want spring scallions, buy onion sets. We have yellow, white, and red here. You can put those in the garden and get some quick spring onions. I'll get these broccoli plants watered in. Thanks for joining us today on Oklahoma Gardening. We'll see you next week.